Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are. I would like to welcome all of you to this webinar. In today's session, we will be discussing the utilization of Flow in the Microsoft project ideation process. My name is Rafael Santos, and I am a principal consultant at Sensei Project Solutions, and I will be your host during today's session. So to get started with, I would like to briefly introduce myself. As I said, my name is Rafael Santos, and I am a principal consultant here at Sensei Project Solutions. I am a Microsoft Project MVP since 2016, which is something I am very proud of. So there are only 28 MVPs in the entire world, 28 project MVPs in the entire world. I'm one of them. So, in my background, I have experience in projects to adopt the PPM platform in three different continents. So, I have been working in North America, South America, and in Africa. I am a trainer, blogger, and speaker, and I am based in the city of São Paulo in Brazil. If you do have any questions, if you'd like to reach out to me, that's my email address, rafael.santos at senseiprojectsolutions.com. Please feel free to send me an email if you would like to discuss this further. If there is something that I can do to assist you, I will be more than happy to be providing you some assistance. So, as I said, I work for Sensei, and this webinar is brought to you by Sensei Project Solutions. Sensei is a Microsoft PPM Partner of the Year winner. So, we won the PPM Partner of the Year in 2014, and we have been nominated as finalists in 15, 17, and 18. We have been working with the PPM implementations all around the United States and in Australia, with more than 500 deployments that have been completed. And we have also trained more than 5,000 people. So we have trained project line administrators, project managers, team members. So we do have a really global impact. Just to share some more information about Sensei, our work is organized, or I would say is distributed into services, solutions, trainings, and apps. So we do services as related to PPM consultancy and support. We have lots of different solutions to help you get up to speed with your PPM implementation. If you are looking for training, we also have books, courses, and e-learnings, and we have some apps that will extend and enhance the productivity capabilities of Project Online. So you just visit us at senseiprojectsolutions.com, and you will find everything in there, and you can learn more about our organization in there. So let's jump in into our topics for today. So our agenda is going to be discussing what's Microsoft Flow and how we can use it in our day-to-day activities. I will bring in some scenarios for utilizing Flow and how we can use this tool to speed up some of the processes and to make things work better and faster. So, particularly speaking for the scenario we have today, we will understand how to use Flow in the project ideation process. So I will bring this topic to the scene here. I will share some more uses or some more use cases for Flow based on some things that we can do with the tool. And I will share some additional links where you can find some information, where you can find some topics, where you can find some materials you can use to learn more about Flow and to understand how you can use this in your day-to-day activities, even if you are not using Project Online, or even if the actions that you need to take are not 100% related to Project Online. So let's just discuss Flow a little bit. For those of you who are getting started with Flow, who are having the first contact with Flow, so Microsoft Flow is an online service that automates actions uh, across most common apps and services. So I don't really like to read things in the PPT deck, but I do believe that this sentence here is very important because this is, in essence, what flow does. So if we have processes that have to run through apps and services, if there are notifications that we would like to share, or if there are approvals that we would like to have in any processes, we can use Flow to automate those. So as you can see here, I have templates and I have connectors, meaning that we can navigate from, sharing files through different cloud platforms such as OneDrive and Dropbox to store files, or if a file is changed, or if the file is modified, we can do this. We have also automation in between, for example, Outlook and SharePoint and Project Online and Power BI. So we can use lots of different templates and connectors to get started with Flow and to run our businesses in a more easy and smoother way. So just for you to know, as of today, Flow connects to more than 220 services, and in between then I could mention SharePoint, OneDrive, Dropbox, Dynamics, SQL Server, Project Online, Power BI, and much more. With Flow, we can instantly respond to high priority notifications. We can do things such as collect data about our businesses. So say that you are, following your organization on social media, and if somebody mentions you, or if somebody tags your organization in a comment, for example, on Twitter, we can grab this information and store this information in a SharePoint list, or we can store this information in an Excel spreadsheet, for example. So we can track some actions, we can define some triggers, and based on that, Flow is just going to be running and looking for those items as soon as it finds it, as soon as this is as soon as something happens, it's going to be taking the actions that we need. We can also automate approvals. We can send notifications based on business rules. We can receive notifications based on business rules, and we can do much more. So, as our use case today, we'll be discussing more about Project Online, but there are more things that we can do. There are lots of different options that we can do. Right. So I will bring in a scenario here for today's session on how we could be using Flow in the project ideation process. This scenario is something that I have worked on with a customer that I have here at Sensei. So I will basically reproduce the scenario I have with them because this is a very cool scenario. We came up with a very nice solution, and I do believe that it can, open the doors for you to understand how Flow could be utilized. And maybe if you would like to get started with Flow, that would provide you some, you know, steps for you to follow. So the scenario was the following. This organization had an on-premises SharePoint server that were basically available. And this SharePoint on-premises was a 2013 server. They migrated some of the activities from that particular server into Project Online. But what happened was the users wanted to still be able to submit project requests through SharePoint on premises. And the reason for that was because not all of them had access to the new Project Online environment that had been deployed in the organization. So the scenario was basically a SharePoint on premises was in place. There was a new Project Online environment, but just a portion of the users had access to the new Project Online environment, while all the users had access to the SharePoint on premises. So what they would like to do is they would like to keep people using SharePoint on premises to collect the project ideas or the project requests. And then what Flow would do is collect all of those ideas, transfer them to Project Online, and then notify a group of people, for example, the executives or the PMO members, so they know that there are lots of different ideas that came in from the SharePoint on-premises environment. So that was basically the scenario we had, and we used Flow to basically automate all of that particular process. So that's a very simple scenario, but we have lots of different utilizations for Flow, and we can enhance and extend this utilization based on different business rules that we may have in our company. So what I am going to do is going to do a hands-on. We are going to now switch gears here, and I will be moving from the PPT deck into my environment, and we will be seeing how this could be set. Just for you to know, in this particular scenario that we are gonna run, I am gonna be using a SharePoint online environment. I do not have a SharePoint on premises, but it would basically work the same way, right? So there was not going to be any big differences in between the two. So let me show you what I got here, and you can understand. You can follow me. So initially, I am already connected to Flow. So it's just flow.microsoft.com. Based on the fact that I am in São Paulo, Brazil right now, as I speak to you, I am being redirected to the South American channel. But all I had to do was to type in flow.microsoft.com, and then I was there. So that was basically what I did. Uh, then I have another side here that I wanted to share and I wanted to show, which is the project ideation side. So this is what's going to be simulating my project, my SharePoint on-premises environment, right? So in the project ideation, what I got is an ideation hub where people should be just going in and typing the ideas they have. And then I have my project web app in which I have a subsite that I created, and it's called Project Ideas. So what I would like to do is I would like people to go to my project ideation site. As soon as they create an idea in here, this idea is then transferred into the project ideas, which resides within Project Web App. So sometimes people just ask, why can't people just go to the project ideas? Because they do not have licenses. So we have to remember that in this particular scenario, people wouldn't have access to the ideation, to this idea site. So they would have to use this, that in our case is basically simulating a SharePoint on-premises environment. So for us to get started, I will go here to my flows. And then under my flows, I can just go ahead and get started creating a new. So the beauty of Flow is there are many templates out there that can be used. So I can get started from a template, or I can just decide going ahead and getting started with a brand new blank project. So I'll create a blank project from scratch. And then here there is an option for me to create blank. And the good thing is I can just get started typing things in. So what I will do is I will ask Flow to find a SharePoint site. And there are all triggers and actions related to the term I'm searching here. So there are different triggers that have been created or are available in the context of using SharePoint. So what I'm going to be doing is I will be saying that an action should happen when an item is created. So I'll click here when an item is created, and then it's going to be asking me what's the site it should be bringing the information from. So the site we are looking for here is this ideation site. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll be typing in the address. I can also copy the information if I want to, but I have my notes here. So let me just go ahead and type it in. And my site is going to be project ideas. So I can use this one here as my as the site that my ideas are coming from. So let me just confirm. Oops, the name is Ideation. I'm sorry. So it's Ideation, and let's see why it's not going on. So let's try to use an existing site, but I will just replace the name here. So Ideation is the name of my site. All right, yep, now it finds it. So then as soon as I am connected to the Ideation site, I can get a SharePoint list from there. And I have a list that I created, which is called Ideation Hub. So the good thing about Flow is that it does recognize all the lists available on this particular site. So since I am connected to a site collection, it then recognizes all the items that are available in there. So I am going to connect to my Ideation Hub list, and I would be able to see some more advanced options if I would like to restrict the views and the columns, but that's all. So now what needs to happen is, as soon as a new item is created in the ideation site, it should then create the same item in another list, which is available in another site. So I will create a next step here. But first, before I create that particular item in the ideation site, I will send an email to somebody. So what I can do is I can send an email, and I have all of the options here where I can type in the name of the person. If this is going to be like a group of people who should be receiving this email, this is something that I can do as well. But in this case here, I would just send an email to myself, R. Santos. All right, I can find myself here. And then I can put something like new project request created. This is the subject. And then in the body, I will just press enter to get some more space, and I will say, hi, a new project idea called, and then I can grab in all of the information which is available in that particular list. So I have the title, I have everything that's available to that particular item. So for example, in my case, I am using a request name, so I can basically select this, and I can say a new project idea called request name has been created by, and then I can bring in the name of the person who has created by. So I have this custom field here called modified by, and all of this information is available in my list, right? So here I can say here are the details about the request, and I can put some more information. So for example, in my ideation list, I have a field which is called the name of the field is problem statement, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, benefits. I'm sorry. So I have benefits, and I can bring this from here. I have an item in there called start and finish date. So let me put start date, and I can bring my start date from here. I have a finish date, which I can bring from here. And for all of the information which I would like to bring in, I could, just type them in here. I was looking for problem statement, but actually the name of the field is current problem. So let me move back here and say it's gonna be my current problem. Okay, cool. So what I can do basically is define everything that I need in my uh, ideation side in the list. All the information is going to be available, and I can use all the pieces that I have and put them all together here. But say that this is all I need, so I'll say thanks, and then I will create another step. So I will send an email as soon as an item is created, and then I need to move this information into another SharePoint list. So you'll type SharePoint again, and once we type in SharePoint, I can add an attachment, I can approve hub, I can copy a file, I can create a file, I can create an item. So there are lots of different actions I can take. And the action we will be taking now is create an item, because I need to basically grab that information and move it to a different place. So the site address we are looking for here is basically the one that I have for my ideation, which is under HTTPS, and then not Sensei. This is a demo site, so Microsoft demos 7645. Oops, sorry, 764577 dot sharepoint.com/sites /sensei ppm, and then under sensei ppm I do have another site which is called project ideas. So this is what we would like to use. Let's see if it's gonna accept. Do believe that we have to type it in again. Project. Come on, Flo, help me. Right, so let's try sensei ppm /project ideas. Okay, so from the project idea side, I have another list in there called project ideas. So I am now connected to the project ideas. And the beauty of this is once I am connected to the appropriate list, Flow is going to be basically recognizing all the available fields in my ideas list, in my project ideas list, in this new site that I have created. And then what I can do is I can just click here in the title and I can say, title is going to be coming from my previous list, and the name to be used in there is request name. So then we have problem statement that in my previous ideation list, which is available in my SharePoint on-premises environment, it's going to be my, let me bring in the name, current problem. I was forgetting the name. So current problem. Then we have the expected benefits, which in here is just benefits. Then we have a proposed cost, which I have created as expected costs. So we can see that even the names don't need to match. So we can have different columns in different lists. I have proposed start date, I will use start date. I have proposed finish date, I will use finish date. And we have requester name, which I will be using a out of the box field, which is the created by display name. So this is all I need. So when an item is created, please send an email to myself and then store this information in this particular list. So I can save this. If there is some messages that Flow wants to give me, it will provide me some messages, some warnings or errors if my Flow has an error, but I don't believe it's the case here. And what I'm gonna be doing is, instead of creating the idea myself with my account, I will just bring in another browser here. So I am now in Firefox, different browser. I will go to this particular ideation hub and we'll create an idea from there. So now let's go. Let's wait for this list to display. Okay, so new item. And let's just say, Sensei webinar test. I can type in the current problem. Let me edit. And I will say this is the current problem. All right. Well, internet here is pretty slow, it seems. So then we have benefits. And I will insert these are the benefits. Okay. We'll save. Then we have the expected costs. So say 10,000. Start date is gonna be say today. Finish date is gonna be tomorrow. Okay, cool. So once this is done, I can save this item. The item has been created in my SharePoint on-premises environment, and it has been created by this person here called Danielle. So what we will have now, or at least what I'm expecting, is once I just go to my email, there is a new email for myself, new project request created. It has arrived right now, so it's running. And I can know that a new project idea called Sensei Webinar Test has been created by Danielle Mamede. So here we have some items that we need to cover. And this is something Flow can do, but basically what happens is since the problem statement and benefits are open text, it then brings in some, um HTML tags that we can remove. But here is the main content, right? So this is the current problem. These are the benefits. We can use Flow to get rid of the tags if we want to. Those are start and finish date. And if we go to my project ideas site, I can click here in my ideation list, and then the information should be there. So maybe Flow is just running. Wait a little bit. If there is something wrong running, what we can do is we can always go back here to Flow and see its status. So let me just make sure I'm saving, and I will go back for a while. So it says it ran successfully, and we can see the flow was just, doing things. So when an item was created, send an email and then create an item. So here is the site where the item should be created to. Those are all the fields that have been recorded. So let's go back. Oops, let me go back to my ideation and just refresh the page. Oh, that's funny. It's saying that there are no items, but the flow did run successfully. So maybe we need to check something. Let me check. So create an item in this site address. So let me copy this and let me go ahead and paste it in here to see what's going on. Oops, now it is in there. So there is my Sensei webinar test. Yes, I was just in a different address, but here is my webinar test. I can click and I can see pretty much everything that happened. So my Sensei webinar test, this is the current problem, this is the expected benefits, proposed cost, start date and finish date, and also the requester name. And the good thing is, if you are using Flow to do this kind of thing, the account running the flow, which is currently associated with my account, is the one that has created the item. So it's not Daniel that has created the item. Even though we know that Daniel is the requester, the account running everything behind the scenes is my account, which means that Daniel doesn't need to have access to our environment. He doesn't need to have access to Project Online. He only needs to have access to SharePoint, and then Flow is just going to run the service and going to run everything under my account. So let me go back here to my slide deck. I have just a few other things to share with you guys, and then I will go to questions. So there are many different scenarios for using Flow within Project Online. We can do lots of different things, right? So we can automate the approval process for converting ideas into projects. So here we are just moving one idea from one site to another. But what I can do is I can also get started with an approval process if needed. So then the ideas are only going to be converted if they are approved as projects. We can receive notifications, for example, when a project is created. So that's a very common scenario in Project Online. I would like to, whenever a project is created, receive an email. This is something that we can do without having to use SharePoint Designer or other tools. We can receive notifications when risks and issues are created or when they are changed. For example, we can, in a more advanced scenario, um, grab some information from project data. We can grab some project data and then store this information in a SharePoint list. So then we can take some snapshots. So say that, weekly, I would like, in a weekly basis, I would like to grab some data such as project name, start date, finish date, cost, and work, and percent complete, for example. So I would like to grab this data weekly for all projects, store this in a SharePoint, and then in a SharePoint list, and then in the next week we do the same thing, and then in the next week we do the same thing. So we have like a snapshot. We can see how the project is progressing over the weeks. This is also something that we can do when using Flow. It's a more advanced scenario, but we can do this for sure. And here are some links I wanted to share if you would like to get started with Flow. If you are, wishing, or if you want to learn more to understand how you can use Flow, if you'd like to get some training, Microsoft does have a collection of sites in which you can get some useful information and you can get started with Flow. I'm sharing two links here that you can use as a starting point, but I am sure that getting started with these ones, you can then find some more links, useful things that you can use moving forward. So that's my session for today. I will see if we do have any questions, if there are things you'd like to discuss. So if you have any questions, please just share them through the chat window. But let me see here. Um, yep, so not questions at all. I just have some people that were just leaving because they were falling behind schedule, having to attend another meetings. But that's all. That was the session for using Flow with Project Online. I am sure you will find many different possibilities of using Flow within your organization. And if you do have any questions, if there is anything I can assist you moving forward, please just let me know and we can get in touch. Thank you very much, and I will be waiting to see you in the next webinar. Thanks.